Hey, everybody. My name's Kurt Conrad, and you're listening to West 4th and Goal, a podcast for high school football fans in north central Ohio. As always, we're coming to you from Idea Works Podcast Studio on West 4th Street in downtown Mansfield. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Noah Jones. And Noah, we're getting down to it now, but before we talk playoff football, let's take a minute to thank Andy McIntyre over at Two Cousins Pizza. Two Cousins is the official pizza of West 4th and Goal. At the risk of mixing my sports metaphors, Andy and his team have really hit it out of the park for us this year. No matter what you're hungry for, you can probably find it at Two Cousins. To place an order, call Two Cousins Pizza at 419-522-2211 or stop by the shop at 103 North Main Street. Once again, it's Two Cousins Pizza. It's the official pizza of West 4th and Goal. And while we're at it, Noah, I think we have one other sponsor we need to thank, so take it away.
All right, we got to give a quick word out to a supporter of the West 4th and Goal podcast this season. Thank you, Diana Donovan of the Holden Agency. Whether you're a young family looking for your first ever home purchase, or maybe the kids have gone off to college and you're looking to downsize, Diana excels at listening to her buyers and sellers' specific needs and customizing a home buying or selling experience just for them. You can find Diana on Facebook by searching Donovan Dream Home. That's the ampersand sign followed by DONOVAN, Dream Home, or give her a call at 419-688-9077. Your dream home is waiting. Let Diana get the door for you.
On Friday night, Lexington's fairy tale run through the postseason came to an end this past weekend. A 56-12 loss to Sandusky at Willard High School. The Blue Streak had a 14-0 lead before they ever ran an offensive play. Lexington they returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and then Lexington fumbled away the ball and they scooped it up and scored. So it was a rough way for things to end for Lex.
Yeah, disappointing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they really made a lot out of their season,
yeah.
I mean, especially the way they started and were still able to make the playoffs. They deserve a lot of credit.
Yeah, absolutely. They were 0-3, and then they were 1-4 at the midway point of the season. So they won 6 in a row, I think. And included a first-round playoff win over Tiffin Columbia. And so Sandusky will play backyard rival Norwalk for the Region 10 championship Friday, and that's at Bellevue. Also on Friday, I made the trip to Findlay, to a snowy Findlay. Hillsdale took on Sherwood Fairview in the Division 6 Region 22 semifinals. The Apaches scored with about a minute and a half to go for a 32-26 win over the Falcons. It's exactly what you expect from a playoff football game. It was a great game. It's a coin flip game. It could have went either way. Fairview just happened to have the ball last, so they scored. They scored with about a minute and a half to go and kicked off, and it was snowing like crazy. The ball slipped through the Hillsdale kids' hands, and Fairview recovered. So I mean, that's that's the way it goes. Nonetheless, I think Hillsdale had a
Do the snow flurries make photos better or harder to do?
I struggle so much taking photos at night. Anyhow, that's just another.
It's a fair point.
Yeah, I mean it's all bad as far as it goes with me taking photos. Fairview will play Seneca East for the regional crown, and that's back at Findlay's Donnell Stadium on Friday. And then on Saturday night, we had 3 teams in action. In Region 14 of Division 4, the Clear Fork Colts made their way to Follis Field in Worcester and came away with a 26-8 win over Lorraine Clearview. And that was a rematch of last year's regional quarterfinal game, and Clear Fork won that game too. The Colts will play St. Mary's Memorial at 7 p.m. Saturday in Bell Fountain. That's for the regional crown and a berth in the state semifinals. And then in Division 7, Region 25, it was at Canton Central Catholic's Lowell Kleinfelder Stadium. Mapleton fell to Warren JFK 42-34. The Mounties led that game 20-7 at the half, but gave up 28 unanswered points to start the second half. JFK turned a couple of turnovers into touchdowns, and Mapleton just never recovered. Mounties finished the year 8-4. JFK plays Cuyahoga Heights for the regional final. And that brings us to, and Noah, I'm going to tell you a story here, so sit back.
I will.
My Saturday, and this was after getting back from Findlay, from coming in Hillsdale on Friday night and getting to bed about 2 o'clock in the morning. But my Saturday started at 8 in the morning. I headed for National Trail Raceway in Hebron. That's where the state cross-country championships were. Those were postponed from last weekend because of the weather. They moved them to this weekend. So, getting up at 8 o'clock and headed to Hebron, which is south of Mount Vernon. Then, it was a great day for the cross-country runners in the area. In Division II, Kyle Johnston from Lexington won an individual state championship. He beat Caleb Brown from Shelby. So, we went. Richland County finished first, second, and fourth in that race. I think Sam Logan was also Shelby. He was fourth. So 3 out of the top 4 spots in that race were won by Richland County kids. And then in the Division II girls race, Lexington defended its state championship, and Ontario was 5th as a team. So Lex had 3 runners finish in the top 5 that day. So anyhow, I covered all those races, filed my stories from the media tower there.
How many hours of reporting does this cross-country last you?
The first race started at 11. That was the Division III boys. We had kids in that one. The last race went off at maybe 3:15. So and we had kids in that one too, so I had to take photos of all those, and then write 2 stories, file photos, and then I was off to Coshocton for the Lucas Cubs at a playoff football game. They played Waterford at Stevens Field in Coshocton. Came away with a 33-14 win, and it wasn't as close as the final score indicated. And I think Waterford scored a touchdown in the final minute. They threw for a touchdown against Lucas's, second string kids. Nonetheless, that by the time I got back to Mansfield and filed my game story, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. So that's a 17-hour workday. I am not as young as I once was. And 17-hour workdays were probably a little easier in my 20s, but it's a little rough when you're doing it when you're as old as I am. At any rate, we're fortunate enough to be joined by Lucas senior defensive end and newly minted All-Northwest District first-team selection, Alec Scott. And Alec, thanks for making your way through the ice and snow to join us tonight.
No problem.
Well, first of all, how are the roads out there? How was the trip from Lucas?
It wasn't too bad. It was wet, but it was an easy drive.
Well, that's good. Practicing in the snow. Tell us a little bit about that.
Today was actually moved inside because the field was just covered in ice. But yesterday we were practicing and it was freezing cold, but we're still up at the game field. So,
right, and you guys had to move your first round game to Madison because your field is taking a beating here this fall. I would imagine even practicing on the game field, it's still kind of sloppy out there.
Yeah, it's not good.
And we talked a little bit about this off air. You guys, are you still doing contact drills this late in the season, or is it mostly just film study and walkthroughs and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we've switched kind of from the beginning of the season. Now we're cutting down practice a little bit, not horribly, but we start out with film now every single day, and then we still contact with team, when we go on our team sessions, but individual contact, one-on-one, that's cut down a lot.
Right. I would imagine, everyone's a little. It's week 13 now. Everyone's a little dinged up. You don't want to. You don't want to take any friendly fire at this point in the season. Right. I wouldn't think so. Well, like everyone else in the area, Lucas didn't have school today. Athletes from my time as an athlete were creatures of habit. Does not having school, does it mess up the routine a little bit, or does it not bother you guys?
Well, it didn't really bother me because I still had school today. But
right on.
For the most part, I don't think it really affects anybody.
Right.
Where are you going to school then?
I'm actually going out to the Kehoe Center. It's a college in Shelby.
What are you studying?
Business.
Okay.
And we had Robert Williams on last week, a teammate, another Lucas guy who's studying to be a rocket scientist. Yeah, but that's the same program, is that right?
Yes, it's the same
What's
program.
it called?
College Now.
Okay. And you guys, you were telling me a little bit about it. You're going to have an associate's degree by the time you graduate high school in the spring, right?
Yeah, I will.
I tell you what, Kurt, we've had a significant number of high school football players on the podcast who are in college too. I had no idea, and I don't think that the high school athletes that I went to high school with were nearly as intelligent as those who are on the West Fourth and Goal.
Yeah, we've got a great bunch of kids. You're absolutely right. I think 3 or 4, or maybe more than that, of the kids that we've had are kids who are going to be halfway done with college by the time their high school careers are over in the spring. So.
Which is just a huge financial help.
I was going to say that puts you so far ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Speaking of routines, there always seems to be a lot more stuff going on as you get deeper into the playoffs with pep rallies and bonfires and stuff. Are those distractions, and are they hard to kind of block out, or are you guys able to kind of keep focused on the task at hand?
Yeah, some of my teammates and I, especially Robert, I was talking with him, we kind of like to limit the distractions. I mean, It's fun for the whole community and everything, and I mean, it's nice to enjoy that. We kind of have this tradition of doing this every year when we make it to the playoffs, but I mean, we enjoy it while we have it, but for the most part, it doesn't really affect our preparation or how we play.
Yeah, and we talked to Robert last week, and it's kind of social media silence time. I mean, you gotta turn all that stuff off, I would imagine, and not pay attention to it. Huh? Now, Lucas has always supported every sport very well. I mean, the community does. But as you've gotten deeper into the playoffs, have you noticed kind of more people coming out of the woodwork? Are there even more people than usual, I guess, in the stands on Saturday nights?
Yeah, a little bit. It's definitely changed. From week 1 in the postseason, we've been knocked out of the playoffs in week 1 the past 2 years.
Right.
And, starting to make a run. It's starting to gain a little bit of more momentum, like from when we had my freshman year.
Right,
so.
right. A long time ago, I was on a basketball team that made it to a regional championship game, and the people that you see coming to those games are people you haven't seen in the previous 20. We only played a 20-game schedule back then, but I mean, we, a lot of new faces show up when people love success.
Yeah, I mean, that's true at every level of the game. Look at the St. Louis Rams.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do they charter buses for you as you get deeper into the playoffs?
Yeah, they have. Last week and this week, they've chartered buses for us.
That's got to be a lot better than riding the big yellow dog.
Yeah,
huh?
Yeah, it's a lot better than a school bus.
Right on. Now you were, and we talked a little bit about it in the open, and you were recently named to the All Northwest District first team. That's a big deal. I spent a lot of years as the area's voting. I sat on that board for a lot of years. I don't do it anymore. But I mean, that's kind of the first step on getting to All Ohio. I mean, do you guys even pay attention to that stuff? I mean, do you know that those awards are coming, or are you just kind of focused on what you're doing now?
I mean, we're aware of it,
right.
But it's not what anybody's focused on. We were at an NBC banquet last night, and that was just right after practice. We had to leave practice early, and a lot of players were kind of upset about that. I mean, awards are nice and everything, but I mean, when it cuts into practice and preparation, we try to limit that.
Right. There's not many NBC football teams, are there? It's you guys in Crestline. That's about the extent.
They joined Troy Christian this year.
Okay, yeah. I got you. Well, that's a team. Did you guys play them in the regular season?
Yeah, we did.
And that was a pretty good team, right? I mean,
yeah, they were good.
Right, that's right. Well, good. Now, like I said, I was at your game last week, and it seemed like you had kind of set up shop in the Waterford backfield. I think 2 sacks last week, 9 on the year. Is that right? 9? I think
yeah.
I think it's 9. I would imagine, there's nothing better as a defensive end than just pinning your ears back and going after the quarterback.
No.
Just talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's not really anything like it. A lot of people make fun of me because, they say I have a little celebration at the end of it. But, I mean, when I get back there in the backfield, I mean, that's just a good feeling.
I didn't see the sack dance. You have a sack dance?
No, I wouldn't call it a dance. But
right on.
What does it entail if it's not a dance?
It's just a brief little celebration.
Maybe we'll have to have you do it during the break.
Well, hopefully he'll get 2 or 3 more this weekend.
Yeah.
Now, when people think of Lucas, a lot of people think of Jeb Grover in that offense, and I mean defensively, you guys have done a good job this year. Just talk to us a little bit about the defense. I mean, you guys might be a little overlooked, but you've quietly gone about your business and done a real nice job.
Yeah, from the beginning of the season, ever since back in football camp, back in the summer, defense was one thing that we've stressed mainly. Our coaches, everybody knows that we run the ball.
Right.
And, that's our mindset. It's like we're going to run the ball, and not many people can stop us running the ball. But our struggles have always come on the defensive side. So this year we've put a lot of focus and a lot of effort on stopping people's offense and everything. And, I mean, our run game has just grown tremendously since week 3. And but, I mean, it's just improved every week.
Right. Now, I mean, you're a starter on the offensive line, too, and you have the good fortune of blocking for the best running back in school history in Jeb Grover. I mean, does he make your job a little bit easier, I guess, as an offensive lineman?
Yeah, he definitely makes it easier. He's he can move back there, and I mean if we do our job up front, we can trust that he can squeak through and find a little creek and get past the defenders.
Right, and we talked to Robert about it last week. Now he didn't play a lot as a freshman. You led it as a freshman, right?
Yeah, I did.
Did you play a lot? I mean, offensively or defensively?
I was mainly special teams player.
Okay.
And occasionally I'd go in for a sub if somebody needed a blow or something. But
nonetheless, you guys had a front row seat for Mason Galco, who was Lucas's career rushing leader until Jeb broke his records this year. But I mean, are there similarities between the two of those guys that you see? Are they completely different style of runners?
No, I think there's a lot of similarities. I mean, they both run hard. They're both hard runners. And, one play I remember my freshman year watching Mason, there wasn't much open in a hole, and I think he went sideline to sideline and made a play happen. And, Jeb has, similar tendencies where he can just extend plays, and, I mean, he'll make people miss.
Right. What do you prefer? Are you an offensive guy or are you a defensive guy?
I prefer defense. Yeah. But offensive line.
He doesn't get to do his little sack dance.
Yeah, when you're just opening holes for guys. Yeah. How would you block you? I guess. I mean, what do you do well? I guess defensively that makes it hard for you to get blocked.
This year defensively, we actually lost our defensive line coach, and so our head coach Spittler, he's actually become our defensive line coach, and we've worked actually a lot on hand movements. So before it, I mean, everybody was it wasn't really much, I don't know the word, but we've focused a lot on hand movements and, getting blocks off. So, I mean, it's not as much just bull rushing and power rushing. Right. There's a little bit of talent to it now.
It sounds to me like, technique is a lot more important for you this year.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we focus a lot on that.
Right on. Now let's, before we talk about this year, let's hit the rewind button. You were a freshman letterman on a really good team, the best before this year, I guess, the best team in terms of playoff success in school history. That team in 2015 reached the regional championship game, lost to Macomb. Are there similarities between those teams? That team I remember a lot because I covered that run, and Ruben Luna was a quarterback, and he could throw it a little bit. And in fact, he kind of saved the day in that second round game against Tiffin Calvert. I mean,
did.
You guys threw it all over the place that night. And Logan Nicewander seems to me like he can throw it a little bit too. I mean, are there similarities, I guess, between those two teams?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely similarities. I mean, not much has changed with how we want to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main difference is we've spread out a little bit more. I think that we have a little bit more speed, so we've tried to use a little bit more speed to compensate the loss in size. But, I mean, with Logan back there throwing the ball, I mean, he's done a great job at quarterback.
I would imagine for a fast team, and you guys played on a sloppy natural grass field all year. It's probably nice to get on these artificial surfaces in the playoffs.
It was definitely a different feeling.
That 2015 team had a big tight end. His name was Aaron Scott. Now I understand that's older brother, huh?
Yeah, that's my brother.
I mean, what was that? What was it like getting the opportunity to play one, even though it was just 1 year and you were kind of a bit player at the time? I mean, was it pretty neat to get the opportunity to play with your older brother?
Yeah, it was definitely cool because we've always been 3 years apart, so we've never played on the same team in Pee Wee, middle school, anything like that. So I mean, it was kind of cool because he was kind of one of my biggest influencers for football. So I mean, just to play on the same team as him and to get on the field a couple times with him, I mean, that was cool.
What advice did Big Brother have for you? Anything?
Yeah, I don't really know.
Well, fair enough. I was looking back at the roster, that 2015 roster, and I think there were 12 freshmen, yourself included. And I looked at 11 of those 12 guys are still on the football team this year. I mean, what's the chemistry like between you and your classmates? I would imagine you guys can kind of anticipate what each other's going to do without having to talk about it.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we've been playing with each other since third grade, and I mean, we've got a couple new players, but, I mean, not even just our class, but, I mean, everybody. Lucas is such a small community that, I mean, even, like, our class is, like, really, tight-knit, but, I mean, our entire team is, I mean, we're really close and everything. I mean, we've grown up together our entire lives, so it's cool.
Right.
What does the experience that you've had in playoffs with the success of the streak that you guys have all had and also like even going to the sort of one and done playoff experiences, what has that done for you in terms of helping you guys realize that you've been there before and stuff like that? Can you talk us through that a little bit?
Well, it's become more expected now. I mean, each season that's been our goal. I mean, my 8th grade year was actually when Lucas won their first ever playoff game, and then from there we've made the playoffs ever since, and it's just something that's become kind of expected. And then the past 2 years that we lost out of the first round, it was like a feeling of we got here, and then it was I want to say complacency, but kind of. And I mean, that's one thing that this year we wanted to make a run again. We're not just satisfied with just making it.
Okay.
And last year you guys lost in the first round, a home game. You hosted Trimble, lost 20-19 at one point. And we'll certainly get into this a little bit deeper here as we go along. But I mean, you're playing Trimble again this weekend, for a berth in the Final Four. Is this kind of how you expected things were going to play off in this region?
Yes. I mean, we had this date marked on our calendar from the beginning. I mean, we knew we wanted to be here. It was just a matter of who we were going to play. But I mean, we know Trimble from last year. I mean, they're a hard team. They definitely play physical, but I mean, this is what we expected.
Right. And they, I think they've been to the playoff 9 years in a row. Trimble has 13 times since 2000. They were a state runner-up once during that time. I mean, they certainly have a strong tradition, but you guys are kind of doing that very same, kind of following that same blueprint.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have qualified every year since 2014. You guys, your senior class will have gone to the playoffs every year, and not a lot of people can say that. I mean, That's pretty neat. I mean, what's that streak and the tradition, and being a part of that mean to you guys? I guess.
It's something special, and it's nothing that we take lightly. I mean, we know the struggles that Lucas has had before, and I mean, to kind of flip the program around and have this kind of success that we've been having and making the playoffs all these times, it's definitely not taken lightly. It's definitely something that we enjoy, and it's special.
Right. No, and we talked to Robert and Jeb about it both. I mean, they were both freshmen playing on a really good team. I would imagine when you're a freshman, it seems like you're going to play high school football forever,
Yeah, it does.
All of a sudden, you blink an eye and, every game could be your last game.
Yeah.
Is there a greater, I guess, sense of urgency for you guys, knowing that every day could be your last day?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely, when you think about it, makes you want to get out there and play a little bit harder. But, I mean, it is. It's become, something that's just so, I don't know.
Absolutely. It's hard to verbalize. I mean, because, it's, you don't want to think about it ending ever.
Yeah.
It has to for all of us at one point or another. Now, if Alec the senior could go back and give Alec the freshman some advice, what would you tell your younger self to enjoy every minute? I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it has just gone by so fast, but I mean, it's something that like you said. I mean, you just blink and it's over. I mean,
right.
I never thought I'd be here, but I mean, postseason of senior year, it's something.
Right. And there are, I think, 15 freshmen who are experiencing this stuff for the first time. On this year's roster. Have you kind of taken it upon yourself to, kind of take those guys under your wing and be a leader and tell them, enjoy it while you can?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what the seniors for our grade did. I mean, they kind of showed us how to, and, they, don't talk about winning. They show you how to win, and they show you how to play. And, I mean, that's kind of something that every senior class from then on has done is just, I mean, they lead the team, and, I mean, they show us how to win. They show you how to play.
You guys will graduate in the spring as one of the most successful senior classes. I guess what legacy do you want to leave for the younger guys? I mean, is there anything that you want to be remembered by or remembered for?
I guess just playing as hard as we can. Giving it everything that we got. I want to be remembered as definitely making it first team to make to the state.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
Well, on that note, let's take a quick break. Then we'll go over what happened last week, kind of recap that, and then we'll look ahead to a couple of games here this weekend. You're listening to West 4th and Goal. We'll be right back. Welcome back to West 4th and Goal, a podcast for high school football fans in North Central Ohio. I'm Kurt Conrad, and I'm here with Noah Jones, and we are joined by Lucas All-Ohio candidate Alec Scott. How's that sound, Alec?
Sounds nice.
Before we get going here, let's take one more time to talk about Diana Donovan at the Holden Agency. Whether you're a buyer or seller in Richland or Ashland County, your dream home might just be out there. Diana is ready to get the door for you. Find her on Facebook by searching @Donovan Dream Home, or give her a call at 419-688-9077. One more time, that's 419-688-9077. So let's let's round up what happened last weekend. Let's start on Friday night, and it was a tough night for the Minutemen. Lexington played Sandusky at Willard in the Division III Region 10 semifinals, and not much anything went right for Lexington in a 56-12 loss. It was 14-0 less than 2 minutes into the game, and 42-0 at halftime. Wildly disappointing finish, but as disappointing as that was, it can't take away from what Lex was able to do. Not a lot of people. They were sitting 0-3 and 1-4 midway through the season. Not a lot of people thought that they would probably reach a regional semifinal game, but they put it together and I think won 6 in a row.
Yeah, I think it sort of adds to, we talk a lot about Lexington and then sort of equate it to Cade Stover. But I think that, you can't really be upset if you're Cade Stover with the way that season sort of finishes. And it certainly helps boost his legacy, maybe a weird word. But, I think he definitely had a bit to do with the leadership of turning his team around.
Oh, absolutely. And I stand by my assertion that Cade Stover should be a candidate for Ohio's Mr. Football Award. That'll be announced here in a couple weeks.
We got to get the hashtag.
I've been covering high school football in North Central Ohio for a long time, more than 20 years, and he is the most dominant defensive player I've ever seen. And he was a pretty darn good running back this year, too. And as good as he was, if you talk to Taylor Gerhardt, their coach, he says, you see what he does on the field, but we see a great leader, and I think that's every bit as important as any of the as any of the 170 tackles or however many tackles he makes. Also on Friday, Hillsdale fell to Fairview. It's the game I was at. It's a little bittersweet for me. As many of you know, I'm a Hillsdale graduate, and my nephew is the quarterback, Alex Becker. He had a great game. Alex did. He rushed for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hillsdale he scored the go-ahead touchdown with about 3.5 minutes remaining. Fairview reclaimed the lead with less than a minute and a half to go. It was a back-and-forth game. What you would expect in a playoff game. That's how they're supposed to be at this point in the year. Everyone's good, and that's it's a coin flip at that point. That brings us to Saturday, and Alec, the Cubs were pretty overwhelming from start to finish. I thought the play that really jump-started you guys was the interception by Rylan Wallace. And for people who may not follow the Cubs as closely as I have, Rylan wears number 71, and there's not a lot of times where number 71 gets the opportunity to intercept a pass. Did that kind of jump-start you guys a little bit there?
Oh yeah, definitely. Any interception, but
sure.
Especially from someone like him,
And he's a defensive tackle, I guess?
Yeah, defensive end also.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't do you have any interceptions?
No, I don't have any interceptions.
And none in your career ever or anything?
No.
It's funny, though, playoff football, it just takes a spark, and sometimes, like, one play like that can change the entire, momentum or whatever to get the team rolling, and it can affect either side in a negative or positive way, and it's really sort of the definition of playoff football.
Right, and Lucas was winning, 7-0 at the time. I think Jeb had scored a touchdown early. But they were driving a little bit on you guys, Waterford was, and he intercepted that pass. And, that's some stuff that'll spark you a little bit. There.
Yeah, absolutely. Get the sideline excited.
Right. Also in Division 7 on Saturday, Mapleton couldn't hold on to a 20-7 halftime lead against number 7 seed Warren JFK. People might be a little surprised that a 5-loss JFK team is playing for a regional championship this weekend, but 4 of those losses were to playoff teams. And like Lucas, JFK plays a lot of bigger schools. I think they played 1 Division 7 school all years, and Lucas, I think you guys played 3. And that brings me, does does that kind of prepare you, I guess, for anything you encounter in the Division 7 playoffs, is playing bigger schools like that in the regular season?
Yeah, definitely. It's actually a really big help. I mean, when you kind of go and you're playing Division 4, Division 3 schools, I mean, it makes playoffs come around, and it makes it seem, not quite as bad.
Right. And you guys, in Week 10, you guys go to Lima and beat a previously undefeated Lima Central Catholic team. And granted, they're only one division bigger, but to beat an undefeated team on the road, I would imagine that is a good way to jumpstart your playoff run a little bit there, huh?
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, we were going in there, and, I mean, we knew it was going to be a tough game. I mean, but to come out with that win, that was incredible.
Yeah. Then Richland County's other playoff survivor is Clear Fork. The undefeated and top-seeded Colts knocked off Lorraine Clearview 26-8 at Worcester's Follis Field on Saturday. And that's Division 4, Region 14. That was a semifinal game. Those same two teams met in the first round last year, and Clear Fork cruised to a 44-0 win. Both of Clear Fork's wins this season have been a little closer than maybe some people, I think, expected. But
right.
I don't think, it's all about having one more point than the other guy at this point. It doesn't matter how convincing it is. Clear Fork has given up only 14 points in 2 playoff games. There's an old adage about defense and championships, if I'm not mistaken. So that brings us to this week. The Colts and the Cubs will be in action again on Saturday night. Clear Fork plays St. Mary's Memorial. St. Mary's beat Van Wert last week, 55-20. Those two teams are the top 2 seeds in the region, and I think a lot of people were kind of expecting that matchup to be for the regional championship game. Likewise, I think a lot of people probably expected, and Alec, you can talk to us a little bit about this, but probably a lot of people expected Lucas and Trimble to duke it out for the Region 27 championships. Trimble beat Harvest Prep last week, and get this, it was Trimble's 6th consecutive shutout and 9th of the season in 12 games. They haven't allowed a point since, I think, Week 6.
Wow.
Alec, without giving away the game plan, what are you guys going to have to do offensively to figure out that defense?
I mean, that's something incredible. It doesn't matter who you're playing.
Right.
Not 6 shutouts. That's something that's hard to do.
And they've given up 40 points all year in 12 games.
But yeah, I mean, it's really it just kind of breaks down to individual assignment. I mean, you got to tweak some things. I mean, look at what they're doing. But I mean, if you just, do your job. That's what our coach says all the time. Do your 1/11th. Don't worry about whatever's going on. I mean, if you do your 1/11th, then we're going to get the yards that we want. Right.
And I would imagine having number 44 back there is a great equalizer.
Yeah, that helps.
Having Jeb Grover and his 300 yards or whatever now is that certainly is going to help things. That'll do it. I think we've covered everything. We certainly wish the Lucas Cubs good luck, and Alec, thanks for coming down and spending some time with us. Good luck, and hopefully the Cubs will be playing in a state semifinal game next week.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, this has been West Fourth and Goal. Thanks for listening.